today is truly about to go down. It's your boy, Carlos Inspire, in the house. What if everything you've been told about power, control, in reality is a carefully crafted illusion? And the true battle for humanity's freedom isn't fought with weapons or politics, but in the unseen realms of consciousness. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have a very, very interesting guest that I'm about to bring on the stage. He likes to call himself the coordinating the Astral travel guerrilla light force to take down the matrix in the spirit world. I want you guys to keep and have an open minded. As you guys know, I love to bring people here in the show from different backgrounds. Some of you guys are going through something in life, or you're going through a change, or maybe you've been stuck for a very long time and you cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. Some of those things out there, my friend, as I speak several languages, I travel throughout all 5 continents around the world. I've seen a lot of different things. I see a lot of weird stuff. And I like to bring great people here on the show to talk about some of those things so that, we can have an open mind. And it's about to go down. It's Alobar Jones in the house. What's up, Alobar?
Good to see you, Carlos. Thanks for
Good
having
to
me on the show this morning.
Good to see you, brother. The world top 10 exorcist and founder of the Earth Guard. My friend, I'm looking forward to having the show today. You and I, we talk offline. It's a lot of evil things happening out there. It's a lot of people stuck. They cannot find the solution. They don't know what to do. They tried everything. They went through every therapist, every coach, every hypnotist, every exorcist. They tried it all. So I want to have an open-minded, powerful, thought-provoking conversation here today where I know you're going to bring the heat and we're going to add a lot of value. Highly recommend you guys taking notes. This show and this message is about to self-destruct in 24 to 48 hours. And it will be available on the carlosinspireshow.com in a few weeks from now for you guys to listen. So for everybody here today, listening and watching us live, let's get it. My friend, Alobar, most people think spiritual warfare is a metaphor. You are saying it's literal. Walk us through that moment you realized the Matrix wasn't just a conspiracy theory, but a spiritual entity that you could fight.
Every religion. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you all. Yeah, no, every religion talks about the other world or the other side, the spirit world, the Narwhal, the astral planes. Like there's a whole string of different words to describe it. And in our modern culture, we know nothing about it, nothing at all. And I think that that's on purpose. I think that's by design. Because what I've found is that actually Earth is under invasion through the spirit world. Like we're talking about, intergalactic cultures that are good, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years old. And I don't understand why this world, this culture isn't into the spiritual, isn't into the spirit world or quantum physics or however you want to describe it. But those cultures have absolutely mastered it and integrated it into their way of being. And strangely enough, when they come across an underdeveloped backwater world like Earth, who doesn't have a clue what's going on in the spirit world, that's the best way to invade them. If that's their technological gap, that's the best way to attack them. Now this sounds a bit wild, but I'm going to put this into macro and micro context. Because in a micro context, like we know that mental health, if I said that all mental health issues are caused by demonic interference, if you think about that for 15 seconds, it's actually quite reasonable. Like, the Christians call them demons, the Hebrews call them Ouija, where we get the word Ouija board. The Muslims call them jinn or genies. The Hindus call them Butpret, the Chinese call them Morgai, and all of them describe invisible monsters that mess with your mind. And so we have this, on the micro scale, mental health issues are all caused by demonic interference. On the macro scale, our world is obviously being run by idiots. Or, I'll put it down. We have had 80 years of uninterrupted prosperity since World War II. Uninterrupted and increasing prosperity. Like, we've had more of everything and anything than ever before in all of history of all time, right?
Yeah.
And the people who organize this planet, the people who run the show, they've created a situation where we have something called debt, and we have and poverty, and we can't feed and house everybody. And we're just kind of thinking, all right, who's organizing this? Who's the nutcase who's holding this together? And then if I start to talk about secret societies and groups like that, when you do the research on them, the ceremonies are involved, and they are religious groups, which is weird enough. But all of them involve in invoking demons and bringing them into your body. And so when you get those big jobs, like say President of Canada, Prime Minister of Canada, or New Zealand, or President of France, you get these guys, and there's no human left in them. Like, they have given, it's actually called a dark covenant, where you give access to it, you give access to your body to a demon to use all the time. And so, our world leaders are not running our planet for human interest. They're running it for something else. And my contention is that interest is demonic. But I'm touching on 101 topics here.
I love it because it's funny. Sometimes we see people and you can look at them, and they don't have to be like yourself, like myself, like that. They deal with people all the time, and you can see they're like soulless, right? Like, you can see it's almost like their spirit, their soul isn't there, and you feel it's an instinctual thing. If you guys watching us live, let me know if you are with us here on this. If maybe somebody, you ever seen it before, whether on a TV or walking around when you're shopping, and that person's just like their soul isn't there, and you keep seeing them more often out there, man. It's that's why mental health increased so much since COVID. Suicide, the other day I heard about a little girl. She was being bullied, and about the whole thing with the immigration, and then she killed herself because they were bullying her. They were going to threaten her parents, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what is that happening to our society and some of the leaders?
Well,
and it's sad.
Suicide's a weird topic because it goes against, like, you don't see suicide in nature. Like, it's not happening. Like, there's no animals doing that. It's not
That's
a natural.
So true.
It's not a natural thing for any kind of animal, human or otherwise, to do. But it does follow a procedure that you've heard of sacrifice, right? Like, you kill the fatted calf to bless the wedding or the harvest or whatever it is that you're doing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when something dies, a whole bunch of fuel is released. And there is a whole class of demons that are suicide demons, and they'll just tell you to keep killing yourself so that they can cash in on that fuel that's released. And there's a weird function about reincarnation, which means they get reincarnated with you again. They get to live through you again, and life goes on for them, like as though nothing happened. But for the individual, it's a disaster of unparalleled proportion.
And it's crazy because we can never tell, man. Look what happened, right, with Robin Williams, right? The guy is just incredible. Nobody see it coming, right? You won Oscar, and you succeeded every role that any actor. I happen to be here in California. I have a lot of past clients of mine in Hollywood, and a lot of the people lost everything because of COVID. The studio shut down, and now they're trying to make some money. They broke. And I tell them, just because you don't have the money, don't make it about, you're going to kill yourself because the money's gone. That wasn't the case for Robin, but a lot of those celebrities now, they are on this. And because I tell them, look, just give me a call before you do it. Let's talk about it. Because if you do it, you have all these followers on social media. And if you kill yourself, or even if you are a leader of a company and you lost your role, maybe you're president, whatever, of a Fortune 50, and they fire you, whatever the case may be, if you take on your own life, you passing the message that is acceptable to do the same when you're facing the struggle. So that's what I try to get on to those high profile people that lost everything, that everything was attached to money and material. And I tell them, guys, you've done it before. We can do it again. I sold bread at 50 cents a day. You can do it again. You look in the mirror and say, I'm going to do it again. Right?
Well, look, and this is the battle that you're talking about. Like inside their head, they've got voices that are singing doom and gloom songs, and there's no way out. And either you're stronger than them or not. And Robin Williams was a really fascinating case of a guy who managed to tame them for most of his life. Yeah. And then, like his personality, there was something unique and original about him. But, you know, he tamed them for most of his life. And then in the end, they got the upper hand, and we saw how that ended.
Do you know what's great?
But problems like that, I can solve them inside of about half an hour because I totally I had to develop all the techniques and understand what causes that and how to undo that.
Yeah, like that's what I love about you, man. You are unique, unique character, man. I love about you, and you're actually straight up type of guy. You're like me, now. You keep it at 100. You don't sugarcoat it. You know, like we were talking earlier, right? You get attacked a lot on social media, right? Because you are out there helping people, whether overcoming their demons, and now people that were pretty much on the merge of giving everything up, and you were able to help them, and now they are thriving. And you know something interesting about Robin Williams, man. That's why I didn't see it coming. I was good friends with the founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation, Frank Shankwitz. We happened to travel many years. We were promoting our books, and he had a movie made after him. And one of Robin Williams' wish was for a kid. You know, with the Make-A-Wish kids, they're gonna die. They have a clock. So he made the wish of this little girl. She always wanted to meet the Beauty and the Beast. So what he did, he dressed himself as the Beast and her as the Beauty. He rent a beautiful Broadway opera place, and then he did a big old, you know, thing in there. And she had no idea that she also loved Robin, and she didn't know that he was the Beast. So they did the whole thing. They danced together, and then at the end, he removed the mask, and she saw there was Robin, and she was like amazing. Crying, and it was incredible. Like he went above and beyond to not only feel he could have rent the place, have some character dress as the Beast, but he's like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the Beast. I'm gonna fulfill her dream, and I'm gonna rent the freaking opera just for her and I and the family and a few friends. And he went on granting that wish, and it's just like it's incredible, man. And I thank Frank. I had Frank on my show a few times. Well, he was a dear friend. Frank Shankwitz, his line was, everyone can be a hero. I want you guys listening to us right now, listen to Alobar, listening to myself. I don't care how hard it is, how difficult it is. You guys know my story. I lost everything. Father died in a car explosion. Stepfather was murdered. Been physically abused and mentally, my mom and I. And I wanted to give up. I wanted to kill myself. But I was talking to Alobar, man. Those demons, they couldn't beat us. They couldn't. God was there, and I kept it going, and you know, and now we are here, Alobar, talking about this. And often I always tell people the greatest prison is the mind we haven't freed. Let that sink in for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. But Alobar, I mean, you call your group the Astral Travel Guerrilla Light Force. I love the name.
No, in English, we pronounce it Guerrilla, right?
Guerrilla. Guerrilla. We say in Portuguese, guerrilla, you know?
Yes.
The Guerrilla Light Force. And how do you weaponize consciousness? And then part two of that question, what is the actual tactic for dismantling dark energy in the spirit world?
You know, I listed off all of those different religions and all the different names they have for demons. Well, you know, I did all my training through the New Age, right? Which they're lovely people, but for some reason they've edited out the concept of demons. And you know, there's also this orthodox toxic positivity that happens in those groups, which, you know, has a place, but you know, you can't discuss anything negative. You'd never do any shadow work in them. But I got really interested. I pulled one of these monsters off myself, and about 3 days later, I'm walking down the street and I go, oh, this is how normal people feel all the time. Right. Yeah, there's something going on here. I need to get onto this, right? And And I've been doing this sort of research ever since. And it's at the point now where there's 11 different demons that are designed to penetrate different non-physical body systems. And we go after all of them one at a time. You know, it's an amazing thing to see people turn around through that work. Yeah, it really is. But how do we weaponize it? I had to develop all of these things myself, with the exception of one. Like when I first got started, I couldn't get training on how to fight demons. Like nobody seemed to know it. And I bought a one-way ticket to India and started going to all of these different temples and chasing all sorts of things. I gave money to all sorts of people, for better or worse. It was silly, right? But you know, an adventure at the same time.
And Alobar, walk us through a timeline. What year was that?
Oh, we're talking about 2010, 2011, I think.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And I went there, and I actually went to a temple from one of Buddhism's early heroes. He was a master of Tantra, and he was known as a compassionate demon hunter. And I went and prayed at his temple. And then that night I was sleeping in the town, and all these dreams came through. And he just gave me step-by-step instructions: do this, then that, then this, then that, then this, and that. And it cleared them. And so the next day, somebody who clearly demonstrated mental health issues moved into the room next to me, and we did these procedures, and it was awesome. Like, it was really, really great. But yeah, you know, and I think most individuals' problems, like not as problems as individuals. The reason that, you know, you and I are thought leaders is because we've managed to master this. But on the other end of the scale are people who have been mastered by them. And we're talking about, you know, a lot of people have drug or alcohol problems. A lot of people have one or two emotions that they just will not get past, no matter what's going on. And what's happening there is you'll have like an anger demon or a despair demon or a sadness demon or a jealousy demon, and it just keeps provoking that emotion day in, day out, day in, day out. And the person doesn't even understand that they're in this kind of struggle. They don't understand that they're fighting this.
Wow. No,
it's a wild thing, yeah.
As you are talking now, I'm self-reflecting. It's so true too, because we could never question, right, growing up, whether we are Christian, Buddhist, or Muslim. Try to go question your priest or your pastor about something. You know, it's funny how I love reading the Bible, and for my daughter, since she was a baby, when she goes to bed and telling her stories, and it's funny how the Bible, like Jesus, done a lot of stuff that the church doesn't talk about it, right? The whole thing about laying hands, healing somebody, like, can I lay hands on you? Can I, you know, and you know, walking on water. And they don't talk about that stuff. They don't like to talk about those things. They don't want people to go venture and go learn it. And maybe they have the gift, or maybe like yourself or myself, we like traveling around the world and going, meditate and pray for a day or two with other in those temples, and just listen, just go deep into the consciousness and see if we can receive a message. Leaders of companies, Steve Jobs. I met Stevie before he died. Stevie used to go to those temples and spend a couple of weeks. That's how you come up with those ideas, you know, the iPad.
I completely understand which spiritual mechanisms he used to be who he is. Like his reality distortion field, like there are a handful of examples of that in history. And I actually found if you look on my YouTube channel, what happens quite often is during my exorcisms, I get the demon to come up to the front of somebody's personality, and they'll talk out that person's mouth. And when they're doing that, I often ask to speak to the primary intelligence. So we go up to the demon lord, and I'm interviewing a whole bunch of demon lords on that channel. It's original research. Nobody else is punting in this direction.
And Alobar, what's the name of the channel? Just type in Alobar Jones on YouTube.
Alobar Jones. Yeah. That's the name of the channel. Like,
for you guys listen, it's Alobar, Alobar, and then Jones on YouTube. Check him out, my friends. I highly recommend. It's
well, look, I do have a friend. He was involved in writing the code that runs the internet. Like, he's a very, very talented guy, and he said that like most of he said that he's looked at just about everything on the web, and that could be true, you know, but he said that the narrative that our group is pushing is the only one that makes sense. It's the only one that actually gives hope to humanity, because we can't ask our political leaders to be honest. Like, we should expect that from our leaders, but the opposite is happening. Like I don't even think it's not even controversial to say, to be a politician, you have to be an incredible liar. You have to be a talented liar. It's not even a controversial statement.
Yeah.
When the opposite should be true. Like, these guys should be, you know, hung, drawn, and quartered for lying to the public from their position of incredible responsibility.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting times. Like you and I, you were talking about earlier. I mean, these things are happening are like biblical, you know. And I often tell people, you know, in order to change the world, we first must learn to travel beyond, you know. And this is something that you and I do. We travel a lot, and we are out there seeking to get better every day and battle those demons and whatever, you know, they throw at us. And that's why I've been watching you and listening. I'm like, you know, we gotta have this interview. We gotta, you know, just go out there. And speaking about some of these groups, whatever we want to call them, why some people call it the Matrix, the Cabal, people call all kinds of names, but whatever that is, they thrive on fear, division, and distraction. But in the astral realm, does their power crumble when faced with collective light? And if so, how?
They have, sorry, you're talking about macro timelines. So you're talking about, you know, large groups of people all feeling and believing in the same thing. And those macro timelines are a wild snake that's constantly writhing, because as, you know, large groups of people start to change their mind, or start to think about things in different ways, then then that changes the course of our future. That replots our future. It's a big. The question you've asked me is massive, with, you know, hundreds and thousands and millions of inputs into the calculation of where that future timeline is going to go. There are so many, you know, just factions within politics who are interested in that realm, who are interested in pushing that, you know, like, and our group, the Earth Guard, we only have one objective at this point, and that's to push demonkind off the Earth. That's it. We just don't want them here.
Amen.
And yeah, but and as they get weaker and weaker, you start to see human light come through. You start to see. So, are people getting more and more tired of the lies? Absolutely. Are we also destroying the liars on the other side of it? Absolutely. And so you get, hang on, I got to get the camera view right. They get this change from lies to honesty. Thanks, bro. Thanks. You get this change that you start to see it in global attitudes and politics, our timelines. You know, we should all be, you know, we should probably still be trapped in our houses wearing masks and getting jabs, you know, every second month, if the timelines had gone a different way, if it had gone a different way altogether, you know.
They tried, and everybody was like pushing back. A lot of us influencers was like, we are not going to comply. Hell no. We ain't going back to that timeline. I often tell from this stage, Alobar, when I'm speaking to like large crowds, that the evil, they hate two things, right? It's being seen and being named. And you guys know one of my favorite books, Outwitting the Devil. What is it? I always keep it handy here with me. Maybe my daughter loves reading that book as well. And, you know, Napoleon Hill wrote that book. My great friend, Sharon Lecter, shout out to my good friend, Sharon. She annotated that book, and the editor. And, you know, what is that? Here, I even bring her on the stage. My good friend, Sharon Lecter, Outwitting the Devil. And then my good friend, Frank Shankett, you know, the Wishman, you know, that's the founder of Make-A-Wish. And then you guys know the greatest, Carlos Cicada, Work Like an Immigrant, you know. But on that book, Outwitting the Devil, what is the devil's greatest fear? When the devil, and Napoleon Hill is interviewing the devil, is people ability to think, right? We just go right back to some of the things that you do within your realm of helping these people overcome the craziest shit, you know. And I've done it
Mm.
over the years in my realm with things, because even when I'm doing a consulting for the company or helping a sales workshop, we got to deal with some and battle with some of the individuals that there might be something beyond that we don't know, right? Like you say, it might be an entity, a demon, whatever,
Um,
and a lot of
yeah,
people
and,
did.
you know, in those big groups, what you'll find is that there's always one or two people who do not realize that they're carrying one of these bad boys. They don't understand it. So they'll be really honest and helpful and go right into the middle of a group. And then their toxicity will come out and attempt to really derail and divide everybody. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, no, it's
It's
great.
a
And
sad and ugly phenomenon.
something that I've been meaning to ask you, that I bet you guys over here listening to us would love to hear. Could you share a story where your force visibly shifted reality here on Earth? That's part
Mhm.
one. And then, did an event, a law, or a leader fall because of the work done in the astral? Could you share something with us?
Well, yeah. Well, look, we've been working since 2020, and I found a list of the 35 individuals most um, at the forefront of that agenda of the health crisis of 2020, right?
Interesting
And
number,
so
35.
we went after, so one after the other. We would fly over there and we would exercise world leader after world leader, right? And what we would see happen again and again and again and again is, for one day, they would retreat on the lockdowns. They would repeal some of the laws. They'd take a step back, right? And then the following day, they'd redouble their efforts, right? Because what would happen is we would take them away from the dark side, and then the dark side would take them straight back. Right? So, well, look, they have permanent staff who are on huge money to do nothing but make sure that these guys, they have their wizard core, they have their professional crew. I actually I was talking with one of them who wanted to be deprogrammed, but the rest of my team didn't want to do the job. They're not interested in helping those ex-dark priests. Not interested. Don't want to know.
Oh man, I don't blame them, man. I got, me, man. I got standards. There are certain people in groups that I don't touch, I don't mentor, but I don't blame your team, because it's crazy, brother. Some of the things that are out there, and I mean, you say this war cost you relationships, it cost you sleep and peace. What is the price, Alobar, of being a spiritual soldier, and why is it worth paying?
Well, the price you pay, you would have to, in order to say no to paying that price, you'd have to first think that you're important. But if I put myself in the context that 1,000 generations have all toiled and lived and died to put me in this position, then I'm in a unique position to actually fight for humanity. Because I don't know, there's not that many people who seem to understand the question, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
But if I was important, then I probably wouldn't do it. If I loved myself enough, I wouldn't do it. But since we are some of the very small handful of people who can actually see what's going on here and do something about it, the obligation is obvious. Because I know the fighting that was going on in 2021, 22 was thicker and more. It got so close. Like, our teams would go out and we would fight tens of thousands of them at a time. Like, it was unbelievable how thick they were. And it's later come to light that they're invading this whole galaxy, and that they bankrupted the invasions of all the other planets to make sure they had enough troops to keep Earth. And even then, they still failed. Like, the amount of resources they devoted to holding Earth was only limited by how many resources they have. They gave everything for this.
Yeah.
Um, And so the dark side is organized, aware, smarter than us. They're more better resourced than us. But without being funny about it, all of the dark side they all have fundamental weaknesses. Even with all of the advantages they have, they can't beat a small handful of people who know what's going on.
Yeah, that's so
Like they
true.
can't do it.
That's so true, man. Often something I always say, sacrifice is the currency of revolution. Some of you guys often see me saying on the stage, talking about selfless sacrifice, giving every single thing we got in service of others. And that's sometimes meaning, we're going to have, like you say, we're going to be, you know, uh, um, the family, and they might don't talk right to us. Many people out there, you've seen that happen since COVID. People stop talking to each other because of politics or because silly stuff. And you and I know all these people on the top, they don't really care. You know what I mean? Like church is like what you and I are doing here right now, right? With the group of people that are watching. We have over 100 people here live watching us now. And, when two or more gather and discussing a new topic, getting people to think about their own thinking. Think about it, guys. When is the last time that even if Alobar or I say something crazy here, but when is the last time that you guys doubt your own doubts? And then not only that, let's go one layer deep. When is the last time that we think about our own thinking, right? We're not trained to do that. Like I was saying on the
No,
book,
the
Outwitting the
opposite.
Devil, that's the devil's worst fear. Our ability to think and be proactive and not reactive, like how they want us to be, And if someone, Alobar, wants to join this fight tonight, they are battling, they haven't slept for a while, they are sick, they are just tired, they are broke, they lost everything, their marriage, their job, and they just like on the rebuilding mode and they stuck, they don't know what to do, and they in the battle, right? People use metaphors a lot. I'm battling,
Yeah.
I'm this, I'm that. But if somebody listening to us now, whether they are live here with us or they're going to be here on the replay, what is the first step, Alobar, that you would take, man, if you would be in their position? Is a meditation? Is a mindset shift? What is the first step, brother?
Oh,
What would
look,
you say?
if you're struggling against yourself and against your proclivities, your will, like, am I going to overcome this despair or not? Am I going to overcome this defeat or not? Now, these things they want you to feel that despair. They want you to feel that hatred or anger or jealousy or whatever the thing is, whatever they're, because that's their food. Like they live off of that misery. And the battle stops once they're gone, right? It's not a struggle against yourself. It's you just choose to do this and there's no resistance. So then you do that. That's how it is. That's what happens.
Yeah.
People who come and do a session or so with me, there's something that we call the calm. Like once you take out, if you're thinking too much, if you're emotionally unstable at the moment, if there's all sorts of different symptoms, but once you clear all 11 types of demons out of somebody, sometimes the next day, sometimes a couple of days later, they get hit with the calm, in which, the tornado, the storm of thoughts and emotions that usually control their life is gone. Like it's actually, sorry, I'll do that thing again because it's such good theater. Yeah. That
Oh, those
storm.
damn metaphors that we use and then we label. Yeah, I'm serious.
Absolutely. Well, look, and if you feel like you're caught in a storm, if you feel like things are too noisy upstairs, give me a call, and I'll march the band out of your head. Like they'll stop making noise all day.
That's
But
real talk, man. That's real talk, man. That's why I wanted to bring you because it's like a lot of people are suffering, and I seen it often, man. I do a lot of training. I see many high performers, sales teams, individuals, managers, and where they are overproducing 120, 130, 150% your quota month over month, whether they are in the insurance industry, car industry, telecommunications, fiber, business sales, whatever. I mentor so many people over the last 20 years. And sometimes you cannot just like, what happened? And, but because I travel so much and I meet people like you and other people out there, they way out there. all the Nikola Teslas and of the world, and some of the frequency and all the things and the machines and the testings that are out there. And I'm like, wow, and I tell people, have you ever talked to somebody else other than your doctor, your coach, or your therapist? Like, and just to get a second opinion, right? And like you say, maybe there might be a demon, there might be some spiritual forces or whatever it is that
Yeah.
that can be cleared, that you can now be
Well,
back, at the mojo, right? We lost the mojo and all this stuff
well, actually, I used to run a program called Anxious Overachiever. And what it
I
was,
like that
people
name.
who were, and I'll tell you the crux of what motivates a lot of very successful people is that they don't get love directly. They get love for the thing that they produce, their product. And if they're and they're often perfectionists because they don't want to have any flaws in their product. They want to be absolutely absorb all that love. Um, but they don't get it just for being them. They get it through their thing, the thing that they do, the thing that they make, the thing they say, the thing they create. And work with me, and I'll take that extra thing out of the equation, and then you will just feel whole within yourself and not running around in circles to produce something that everyone's going to love you for.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different, but that's just common one common distortion that these guys use.
I love that.
But there's lots of them.
No, man, I love that. One thing that I always say, is the most dangerous weapon any human who remembers their power. Just you guys, my friend, you have unlimited power. You have greatness within you. I talk about everybody. I mean, we have the force of good, the force of God within us, where when we make a declaration, when we just draw a line in the sand, and if you are struggling, you seek help, you reach out to Alobar, you reach out to myself. Maybe you don't like us, reach out to somebody that can actually help you, that been there, that walk the talk. You guys know how I am, right? It's like I will never take you to a place that I haven't been before. I know Alobar wouldn't do that either. So, but the key is like reach out and be okay. I don't care if you're a mega super performer, an Oscars winner, you sold 1,000,000 songs in a second, you've been on the Super Bowl in the halftime, whatever that thing. At the end of the day, 150 years from now, none of us are going to be here. That means we are all equal. But if you are struggling, and it doesn't have to be a super achiever. I know a lot of high achievers follow me here. A lot of you guys on LinkedIn, CEOs, CMOs, directors, executives, sales teams, sales managers. I know you. I see my insights. I know you guys are watching. And, sometimes, if you struggle for so long and maybe you'll be written up and you're worried about losing your job, it doesn't hurt to get a second opinion. I don't care how much, I don't care what the price of the opinion is. If Alobar charges $1,000 or $1,000,000, you just never know what that can do, right? By reaching out, by seeking help, by going to the YouTube, by watching the videos, by reading the books. Put yourself in proximity, because you guys know the drill, guys. Somebody's stolen this one from the Bible. If you hang around the barbershop long enough, you get a haircut, baby. But go ahead, Alobar.
No. Like we've never had it so good as far as this. Like when I was a kid, you had to buy these books, or these sets of tapes that they charge you $500 or $1,000, and that was where you got business acumen from. Because because it's very, very rare. But now you can click through and find anything you would like. If you want to hear, I've got an interview with Lucifer on my channel. Fascinating stuff. You would love it. But it's all out there. It's all out there.
It's crazy. You're just like Napoleon Hill, right? Interviewing the devil, man. I know.
Well, look, strangely enough, demons and the devil are not really popular topics. They don't inspire love from a lot of people.
That's why I like to bring different people here on the show. I bring everybody on the show because I want to have these conversations. I want people to be like, okay, let's give somebody, like think about their own thinking, right? I tell, if something's dark, if you're stuck, you don't know how to fix something. I mean, to fix the root, you must to dig in the dark. Come on, brother Carlos, say that one more time. To fit the root, you must to go.
You have to go into the darkest part of yourself.
You got to. It's the only way. Looking in the mirror.
Totally. And you wonder how I started this work? I reached into the darkest part of myself, and what did I find there? What did I find there?
Oh
Right? And
God.
since then, and I just know how much misery and pain and suffering these things cause, and I could not think of anything more useful to do for the world. Like, there's nothing. Once you understand that 99% of problems start with these bad boys, like there's nothing else to do. There's no other reason. There's not. It really motivates me to get out of bed in the morning. Is my
That is
point.
something, brother. I remember, man,
Yeah.
like being on that dark kitchen as a kid, no longer wanted to be here. 6.5, about to stab myself, and Carlos wouldn't exist, man. If I wouldn't be that little kid, that
Well,
inner
it's a lot of
strength,
backbone you got, brother.
and
That's
then
a lot of guts you got to
for
get
real,
to.
man, and God whispering to my ears at that point. But why is it now the critical moment, Alobar, to attack the matrix is spiritually? And then part two of that question: what happens if we lose this war, brother?
We've visited the planets that have succumbed to this invasion. And what you're looking at, the invasion is kind of like a locust energy or a vampire energy. And it has sucked each of these planets completely dry of life. And now, and in a lot of cases, is trying to suck the life force out of the planet itself. And so you have this ash. It's just literally like where they have passed, there is nothing but ash left. I don't know I don't know if your crew has heard of reptilians before.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, okay. And it's like there's a touchy subject, but we've crossed swords with them on multiple occasions.
Well, we had some great
And
interviews on the show with folks with encounters.
yeah,
We have a nice variety of people that been on the show for the last couple of years. So definitely, there was an
yeah.
interesting show where we talk about that, where the
Well,
person, yeah,
what you're looking at in the form of reptilians are previously conquered species who their breeding has been controlled and their minds have been controlled, and now they are servants of their invaders. And they are the forerunners that are part of the early stages of the invasion. So you get these things that if you dig into these reports deep enough, you'll find that the reptilians did handshakes with the Nazis and the Americans, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s.
yeah,
Like
no,
these guys have.
it's crazy. The whole thing, when you go back to the beginning of the civilization and how certain things were around back then, 500, 1,000, 2,000 years from now, there's no way in hell you could have created those things without some alien, some type of super advanced technological folks that could help. Look at the pyramids. Me, I'm a native Indian from the Amazon. The Incas
Yep,
are part of my family,
yep.
right? So we have a lot of pyramids out there, in South America, Central America.
Yeah, I
In
toured the
Mexico.
Mexican ones. I
Yeah.
went on a tour and meditated at all of the sites
Oh
in
yeah. Do you
Mexico.
went to
Like,
Chichen Itza in Yucatan?
yeah,
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 the
that's
one
it.
that the snake around twice a year the sun aligns with, and it forms a snake.
Yeah.
Chichen Itza. I love that stuff, man.
No, the real one is on the southern border. It's called Palenque. It's like
Yes.
it's like a 10-kilometer square temple complex that has hundreds of buildings, and every single stone carries tons of information. Like and there's even a what do you call that, landing strip
Yes.
as
You know
part
what's
of the
funny?
temple complex, and it's also the world's throat chakra.
Yeah, I love the energy there, the spiritual field, guys. The only way to experience this is by being there and touching these like structures. Some of them you cannot go up anymore. Which I wish they would let us go inside some of those pyramids, but some of them,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we cannot climb them anymore or go inside. Look at the sarcophagus and all that stuff. I love.
Well, there's actually there was a couple of hours from me in Brisbane. There's actually a museum exhibit of the Egyptian. They had 5 mummies there, right? And four of them were from the royal family, and the 5th one they failed to identify. They didn't know who it was, right? But like black magic. Sorry, how like the Egyptians are all fascinated with the living and the dead, and like how the dead can live on in the living, and like that crossing that barrier between life
Yeah.
and death. I went to this exhibit and I saw 5 mummies there. And the one who wasn't identified was the one I was curious about. He was the necromancer still keeping life in those 4 other bodies. And I'm standing in the museum talking with the thing that's still in there. I go, come with me, I'll give you eternal life. It's just wow, off its head. But everybody who comes into that room is just grabbing a little bit of life force off of everybody. I had to do spells on the room to protect everybody. It was wild.
It's
It was
crazy,
wild.
man.
Like there's that fascination between life and death. That's black magic all over. That's where it's at.
Nah, man, you give me some memories here talking to the elderlies in the jungles and hearing their stories. And when you go to the forest and to the pyramids and you touch in these structures, even when you touch in the trees, you feel the energy. You see things, you hear things moving, and then you ask them about wild stories. You guys that have been listening to me for a while, you guys know I like to ask crazy questions. And I try to always bring the best out of my guests, like I've been asking Alobar here.
Do you know the word chupacabra?
Oh yeah, Brazil chupacabra.
What does tell the audience? What is a chupacabra?
So guys, a chupacabra is a wild animal in the Amazon. Like for example, you guys know I'm big in farming. So out of nowhere, you wake up the next day and you have your cows and your horse, and then imagine having a cow or a horse dead, bited, half of the thing is missing, and no way to explain. It wasn't a panther, it wasn't a lion, it wasn't no other animal.
No animal we know of like that.
It's a wild bite, and it just took a large piece of your body, and nobody can explain in the Brazilian jungle where chupacabras are going around. It's weird shit. It's weird shit.
I didn't used to know the word chupacabra until I interviewed one.
No way.
I have a 3-part series called Honest Alien, right? Where I interview a chupacabra, and anyway, I'll let the mystery continue.
No, it's crazy.
You hear about these wild things in the jungle that have special powers, and I saw footage of these guys like shooting at one. Or the whole village is awake in the middle of the night, running around trying to see the thing with torches and that, and everybody's shooting it, like wild stuff,
And
it's crazy. Nobody's really clear what they are.
Even the definition, if you try to translate the word chupacabra, right? You draining the goat, you sucking the goat, right? So a lot
is that what it means?
Yeah. So if you translate word for word, and then that is a bunch of synonyms.
It's a bloodsucker.
Yeah. So imagine, like, anybody look at the goat as, the goat, right? What is the demon of the goat of the sports? So imagine you the ones that literally kill the goat. You drain the goat, right? You take the life out of the goat. It's like, even as we are talking, I'm thinking about here. I'm like,
and I talk about these guys. I used the word vampire before as what describes this invading civilization. These chupacabra are part of this invading civilization. But watch those videos, because it is incredible. Like you couldn't make up what I found out there. Like I can't even realistically describe what I'm saying, what happened in that interview.
If people do the digging, brother, it's so much wild, crazy shit out there where you and I, because we travel a lot and we hear the stories and we see and then when you see it happen in your own farm, when an animal is half eaten, and you're like, who the heck did this?
Who's ripping horses in half?
What's for real? Like what? And just what? So you just came over here, or you cannot even explain. Even if you would think, oh, somebody caught it. No. The way how it's beaten, the way how it was ripped apart, the bites doesn't. There's no historical evidence to back it up. Even if we do like a forensic evidence, which I tried, and it's like, what the heck? And we hear this shit has been going on in the jungle in Brazil for so long, man. The chupa freaking cabra. So glad that you brought that up.
It's only because you're Brazilian that you would know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Like, nobody else seems to have a clue what's going on there.
And Alobar, tell me something. I mean, you've seen the darkest corners of the spirit world. what gives you the unshakable faith that light will win, my friend?
Uh, the reason I am successful, right, is because firstly, these guys are not imaginative. They don't develop anything new. They've only got so many ways to attack a human being. And so over the years, I've suffered every single one of those attacks and resolved it. And then I built a shield to counteract that. That shield system now has 450 components. And every left hook, every right jab, every move that they make, I've got a counter to it. So really, they have nothing left that's effective. The only thing they can do is get into other people, and sometimes those people will illogically hate me enough to cause me trouble. But I know what I'm looking for when that happens, and I can resolve it.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. And Alobar, tell me something. What entity or situation was one of your hardest battles? Tell me about like one of the worst ones, brother. Like you're like this goddamn devil. like what's one of the hardest battles that you could, disclaim it or talk about it without saying any names or any clients for privacy issues?
So look, a lot of people bring me their kids who are broken by drugs. Like a lot of them, they have like a dozen or 2 dozen acid trips, and then they're just not normal anymore. And what you have is they wander around the astral planes, and then they meet these bad guys, and they just jump on them because these kids don't know what they're doing. They don't understand what they're encountering. They don't understand what's happening. They don't know the battle that they're involved in or the battle that they're fighting. And so, usually over about 3 months, it's these battles, and we fight them regularly. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like they are farming these kids for their emotions. So, these poor kids, they go through pain and despair and anguish and suffering of all different kinds to feed the demons that have jumped onto them during their drug journeys, during their most wasted moments.
Wow.
And so it's kind of like the demons regard that individual as a territory, and they're farming it. And so we go and attack them, they counterattack, we attack them again, and you get this push-pull thing until they're completely clear. And we've eventually killed every single demon who can remember that guy, used to be theirs. They have, the title deeds to that kid, because it's a contract. They have sold part of themselves, their soul or otherwise. And we've got to go and recover every single one of them. But these kids get their lives back.
Wow, man, that's a blessing.
Yeah, and I don't think there's another service anywhere like it in the world. I don't know if anybody's doing that.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's why I wanted to have this conversation with you. And you guys put it below in the comments. I want to know. Alobar wants to know because I never seen it. It's like a lot of people they claim things, but you've been doing this for a long time. And then you've been putting the receipts out there to prove it, like I've been doing it. We've been putting those videos, the testimonials. It's out there. It's not you and I can say we can be biased, but when thousands of people they've been helped by us, now nobody can take that from you or from myself. And I appreciate it, brother. We are almost on the top of the hour. You guys know I like to keep this show for about an hour. I bet you they're gonna want to see you back already here in a few months. So you already know it, brother. And before we get into the final question of the show,
there is something I want to do for everybody. Yes. I know that this world is confusing and there's all sorts of crazy things going on, and I apologize because demons are real, and now we have to factor that into our calculations of what's going on this planet. I'm sorry to make it harder. I'm sorry, it's an ugly thing to bite down on, but it's this factor explains a lot of different things, a lot of different things. So I apologize to everybody that now you have to sort of start wondering, factoring this into your world calculations. I'm sorry. It's more than anybody wanted.
No, man. I'm telling you, people are stuck. People tried everything and they still stuck. And that's why I like to bring different influencers on the show that people come to you that been on that situation, right? And then, you guys know I love everybody. I respect everybody, as long as they don't try to impose their beliefs My children, we are good, but a lot of people out there, they suffering now. Like you and I, we talk a lot, and and I want to be able to give people like something else to look at. And before I get you to this final question of the show, my friend, what is the best place that you hang around the most? Is it on your site, alobarjones.com, or is it somewhere else that you spend the most time?
Oh no, no.
Where can
Most of my
people
stuff is
reach
on
out to you?
YouTube, actually.
YouTube is the best
On
place.
Well, look, YouTube, and we have a membership site, theearthguard.org. And on that, I'm saying the things that I can't say publicly. And believe me, I've got some really interesting things to say. But
Oh man, I know
and
you do, my brother. And I'm glad. So I highly recommend you guys look into it, guys. Look into it. Alobar Jones on YouTube, and then alobarjones.com, where you guys able to get access to everything. My New Zealand brother here has been doing it around the world for a very long time, and just very excited about it, that we had a chance to have this talk. I bet you a lot of people are thinking right now, especially the ones that have been maybe stuck and battling with something that nobody could fix it, whether it was a doctor, a coach, a therapist, a hypnotist, and nothing, right? Then, what are you going to do? Give up? No, you guys know how we roll. We don't give up. We keep it going. We keep it going. And that's why I
look,
like,
if you wonder if you're infected, like, I'm not expensive. I'm not really that expensive. So, like, if you had a demon, if you had one, you'd want to know about it, is my bet. Like, if you'd want to get that sorted out. Like,
yeah, you don't want to be dealing or carrying on the shit in your house, for so long. Hell no.
well, yeah, just think about how much mental real estate you'll reclaim when you evict those parasites,
That's so true, brother. And my final question of the day, my friend, it's your eulogy. It's
Oh,
50 years from now. You are 100 years old, and your best friend's gonna read it, and they're gonna say, Alobar Jones was dot dot dot.
oh
In
God.
your own words, who was it?
Yeah,
Alobar.
Davin, no, sorry, excellent question. Alobar Jones, he helped people. He made the world a better place. The technology he brought forward about exorcism and demonic possession um, revolutionized the mental health scene and treatment therein. And now we don't have that problem on the earth. That would be my dream.
Amen, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, there you guys have it. Oliver Jones, he didn't
Yeah,
just show
wow,
us
wow, what a question.
yeah, I know, man. I left every
11 out of
question.
10.
I,
11
I,
out of
I,
10.
I love the
What will
answer.
put you on the spot better than that?
Dude, I have friends that been on the show, legendary. They are no longer here, and we have that question recorded. That's why this interview, you and I are gonna take it to the grave. I bet you people love it. I'm watching over 100 plus people here live. Not one person dropped the entire time, and that's why I know they loved it. And I want to thank you again, Alobar Jones, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't just show us the battlefield; he handed us the keys to the armory. The question isn't can we win? It's will you choose to fight the war that's already been won, but only if we believe it. My friends, share this with someone today to be awakened. The astral gates are open, and you know it. The days that breaks us are truly the days that makes us. God bless you all.
Love to you all.